Where is that? Pulled it up before. This, is it on the board of directors?
The easiest way to find that is go to the AGM tab on the main page. That top left, kind of that radio button, AGM tab. And then click on the one that says 2026 revised budget. That was the one that was.
Okay, I know I've gotten to it before. I'm like, where is it? And now I'm kind of like in this panic to get ready, so.
Okay, I'd like to call the Finance Committee meeting for October 15th at 6:36 p.m. to order. Okay, so
There it is.
we have our, we have our land acknowledgement and anti-racism statements. I'll summarize them. We acknowledge that we're gathered today on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish Peoples, and our anti-racism statement. The Sudden Valley Community Association stands firmly against racism in all forms. Full acknowledgements can be found on our website. All right, so in attendance, we have myself as chair, board member Vanda Polder's on Zoom, Kathy's here, Rob is online, Mary was going to try to call in, Jean is here, and Joel is here.
The one in-person meeting that you guys have, I would have loved to be there, so sorry I can't join you in person.
We understand. Yeah. Things happen, schedules happen, so appreciate you being online. All right, so let's see, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Everybody got the agenda packet online and downloaded?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I have it, thank you.
Let's see. By acclamation, I'll assume that we will adopt the agenda. Any objections to adopting the agenda as circulated? Hearing none.
I'm good. I move to adopt the agenda.
Okay, very good. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so we've adopted our agenda. So first item of business is to approve the minutes of our meeting. We did not meet in September because of the budget meetings. So the minutes from August 20th have been circulated. Any, have you noted any additions or corrections to the minutes? I think they were posted as an addendum.
The first one.
Okay. Hearing none.
I guess the only question I have, and I don't want
Yeah.
to delay the meeting, is how come that HVAC system is just so much money? It just seems, it looks like we need to give more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just,
I think it's, partly it was the difficult access, and I think there was some additional part that couldn't be reused. It had worn, forget which one it was like a moving
piece here.
pulley or spinning thing. Rod, I forget the terminology on it, but they thought they might be able to repurpose it. They had additional expense for that, was my understanding.
I guess the one good piece of news about that is that updated cost made it in time to get into the capital plan and the reserve study. So those costs are reflected in the budget as well, the 10-year capital plan budget and in the reserve study.
For the next go around, you mean?
Meaning that additional 90-some thousand that you're talking about that was added to that. So those additional costs are in the reserve study now as well.
What kind of heat is it that they're putting in there?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, actually, if it's a heat pump or if it's, I could be wrong on that. It's because that was like the HVAC unit itself, I believe, for that.
I know it was heat, and I know one of the expenses that they had was they were gonna retool one of the parts because they couldn't get a new one, so which was good that they were able to do that.
I thought that turned out they couldn't fix it, so they had to get a new one.
Oh, last I heard that they had to fix it, but we don't always get the updated.
How many square feet is that building? How many square feet is that building?
So I don't know. I think part of the challenge is so broken up. It's just, there's so many rooms and so much. They're gonna have a hard time getting it out and everything.
Just ignore it, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Start over.
Well, actually, I think there should be some thought given to that building.
I like that building until they like to face the inside of it.
Well, I just think it'd be nice to have some thought for how it's laid out and kind of better laid out and better use of space in that building.
Yeah, my note on that was that the repairs as planned could not be accomplished, and there were no parts available, so had to disassemble and put in a whole new, it was a custom shaft and bearings. That's all the notes, that's all the notes that were in there.
I don't know. We have that one back.
All right, any other questions on the minutes there? So if not, entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as circulated.
Motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Second,
All right, any other discussion? And hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the minutes for August 20th, 2025, say aye.
Yes.
I
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Good. Okay, let's see, announcements. The AGM is coming up, and we'll have, of course, we'll have presentation of the budget and the vote on the budget. How many will be able to be in attendance?
should be there.
When is it?
November 1st, the day after
Be
Halloween.
there.
Rick, was your question, how many do we need for a quorum?
Friday. It was like my first night off and I went, oh shoot.
I'm sorry, Rob, I couldn't hear you.
Did you ask how many members do we need for a quorum?
No, for, how many of the finance committee would be in attendance at the AGM?
I'll definitely
I'll
be
be
there.
there.
You'll be there, Taimi will be there, I'll be there. You'll be there. You can help me answer questions about the budget, I'm sure. I get to make a treasurer's report as well. Any other announcements?
I have an announcement, just reminding people that this Saturday, October 25th, is our trunk or treat. And even though it is normally later in the day, we do have a wedding scheduled that day. So trunk or treat will be from 2 to 4, at least on the last note that I have here. So hopefully lots of people will come out. It's early, but still gives you maybe you can get another trunk or treat in, but it is a popular event, so hopefully we'll have lots of attendance.
I have an announcement on Sunday, October 26th at 3 o'clock will be the board of directors candidates meet and greet. And we'll give members an opportunity to come and just have some conversations with the candidates. It will be in the dance part of course, that's up on the second floor of above the rec center. And just an invitation for everyone to come and enjoy some time talking to the candidates.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself.
Same.
Okay, other announcements? Very good, okay. So, next will be our financial statements review. So, let me just ask a general question before Bill gets started. Have any of you gotten any feedback about the presentation of the financial statements in the views? Good, bad, indifferent, too much, too hard to read, too, I don't care.
No, I don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
Sometimes I think a little simpler is better for some people, and not quite so much detail, and being able to refer someplace to get more details.
Right, that's the comments, a couple of comments that I have heard of, is like, man, there's a lot of stuff there, just give me the lowdown.
Dump it down, yeah, so that it's.
So summarize it.
Mhm,
And I don't know what our bylaw obligations are, I know we're supposed to have something in there each month, but
It's like
I
once a
don't know how
quarter.
much detail there really needs to be. And I understand we want to be transparent and, not hide anything, but it seems to me a summary of, is our income on track? What were the unexpected expenses that month? Those types of things,
Yeah.
it seems to me, I don't know.
Yeah, so
I agree.
Yeah, when I presented to my clinic, we had all levels of people. We had everyone from the kennel person all the way up to
Yeah.
my finance person. And every month we would give a presentation, and it was pretty basic, right? We could certainly expand it, but it's pretty much, this is kind of where we are, this is how we are on track with the budget, these were things that are aligned, and these were why they're out of line. And that was most of what we had. And then if they had questions, they could come back and talk to me about, can you explain more about this?
Right,
I don't know if something like that can happen.
yeah.
It might be easier, Joel, than,
I don't know if that's been tried before.
Actually, I was just about to say, I've heard nothing but good things.
Of course.
Yeah, that's all
Especially
I did.
about our finance director.
Uncommon.
Yeah.
Rick,
That might be something for them. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
thank you. The feedback that I have received from my neighbors, is more around, like at the board meetings where they feel like the report has way more detail and they're having a little trouble following it, as depth as it goes. So just some feedback for at the board meetings whether we could have maybe a little less detail. That's coming from my neighbors.
I do think that's true.
Yeah.
Or target on just certain things, maybe, like, that would be important to people, we don't have to put everything on display or.
Yeah, I think like Jean referenced in her experience where things that were largely out of line. I mean, there's always going to be a little variance, month to month, but if something is like double or triple the expense, why was that? And those types of things.
Yeah.
Or income was really down, why was that?
Right.
Or dues was down, or whatever I think it's the outliers that need to be identified mostly after a general summary of, we're doing pretty good, cash flow's about the same, paying our bills on time, nothing out of the ordinary, except for we had a bunch of hazardous trees this month and whatever it is.
Yeah, usually with these financial statements, of course, actually, maybe I could talk about that, I guess, once we get into financial statements. If you guys had more comments, meaning like I can just cover what I was going to say during the financial statement presentation itself.
Anyway, yeah, thanks. I guess we're ready to roll then, Joel.
Okay. Okay, so,
Is this on our screen?
I believe so. Can you see it? Are you logged
Well,
into
hers,
this?
we're Zoom.
No,
No,
Can you
she's
make
not.
it bigger?
Like I said,
Oh, can you see it, Taimi?
what's green?
I can
How's
see
that?
it, but it's teeny tiny, so
Okay.
bigger is better.
I was asking.
Let me,
I didn't see it.
let me just share this, instead of the whole screen, I'll just select just that document.
I mean, I
Can
can
you
go
go
to
on Zoom?
Zoom.
Can you go on Zoom?
Yeah, we can go to Zoom, let's see, where is it? It would be in the finance committee thing, right? This is.
How's that? Is that better?
Go to the agenda, I think. maybe.
It is, but online it's showing like it's not going to full screen, which makes it smaller. Like if you can make it full screen, it would be a lot easier for people to see it.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's just not full screen.
Yeah, it's like
think
2/3 of the
If you
screen.
zoom in, so the right-hand margin of those numbers is all the way to the right, it would enlarge them.
It's better than
Yeah.
it was, for sure. Oh, nice.
There
It's
we
still
go.
only 2/3 of a screen, but the numbers are big, so I can actually read them.
Really? Okay, well,
I'm just
Well, yeah.
Because it's already down. What we did down, probably okay, right?
It's the sound image,
Yeah,
Just turn this off.
well, that's, okay, we don't need that, yeah, you're right. Okay, so there should be, can I just close that or do I need it there? I mean, it's the same thing, I think we're looking enough that we won't be able to do it. Up and down, you'll have to do it. All right.
It's still not full screen, but it's readable, so that's fine.
okay.
Put it on a TV.
Don't worry about it, because it's more about moving forward. It's readable.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to plug it in.
Okay, so I'm going to be covering the August 2025 financial statements. Obviously, we did July. Looks like
Is that ours?
do you have your
It's
mic
still
on?
mine, it's still on,
Just have to
This is
mute
far
or
down here.
something.
right here.
Yeah, it's probably
Can you make
it's
it-
the mic.
I
Just
think you
mute
just
Just gotta
lower
mute it.
their settings again.
No, you got her muted.
Turn it
No, I
up.
said-
Oh,
This needs to, what is this bar? There it is, okay.
It's on. Hello?
Can you see
this?
Are you-
That's
I've
what's
got
on.
it, I've downloaded
Just
it.
touch.
Spencer,
Yeah.
can you see?
There you go,
What?
okay.
Can you see on your computer on my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Is it like full screen?
Yeah, for me it is.
Okay.
Well, the right-hand column
It
is
doesn't sound like.
in the middle of the page, so,
Yeah.
right. It's not all the way to the right. There, that's better, I think.
Okay,
Okay, so now, oh, that sounds good.
it's all good?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be covering the August 2025 financial statements. Obviously, I did July last month, so we'll do August this month. I always start off with the balance sheet. There are no new line items or anything remarkable worth mentioning in August, so we can, I think, just skip ahead to the real kind of meat of the matter for the association, which is the income statement. And this is obviously what you're looking at is, you could think of it like the consolidated income statement for all departments rolling into one here on the financial statements. And you can see if we just get right to the bottom line of our, what I'm doing is I'm focusing on this column right here. Third from the right. So this section of it is year to date, 8 months ending 8/31. So I'm scrolling right to the bottom of the operating net income amount right here. So you can see it's $213,745 at the end of August of 2025, and that's year to date. That's for all of the operations, so all the departments that you're looking at. Now, in terms of what it was last year, it was 500, at the end of August of 2024 is 598,000, I'm rounding these numbers, but 598,000, so you see, so there is a difference, obviously, between 598,000 and the 200 and close to 14,000 that we see here. Now, in terms of our revenues, or total revenues are 3.5 million, 3.56 million through August. Now, the revenues at the end of August of 2024, it was 3.52 million. So we have about $40,000 more in revenue. So the big thing for us is it's clearly the expenses. So the expenses are just more than what they were last year at this time. And some of this is timing with some of these things. Like you can see these, we'll just go ahead and hit on contracted professional services. So this column here, this better or worse than budget column right here, you can see that this line item is $100,000 worse than budget. And that's related to, some of this is timing. So it's related to the ACC consultant putting in billings, and he put Joel Carter, when he put his billings in, it was ahead of time last year in about 65,000 this year in terms of billings at the end of August. So some of this is going to be timing in terms of when we got it last year. We used an HR consultant, went digital, and that just flat out wasn't. By the time that contract was established and signed, that was after the budget process last year. So in 2025, there just is no budget for that. So that's why any expenditures from that will immediately trigger like an over budget amount. And we had about 45,000 for that through the end of August. Hazardous trees, regulatory compliance hazardous trees, right, you'll see that line item is over by about 53,000, 67,000 of that is hazardous trees. And I pointed this out before, and I'll go ahead and show you. So like on the Finance Committee webpage, so if you go to the Finance Committee webpage, you can, what I'm looking at is the full version. What you have in your agenda is the 7-page version, and I'm looking at the full set of financial statements. And that's the good thing about these financial statements is it starts out at the real top level, and then the more you go through those pages, more granular it gets. So like this regulatory compliance line item, as you see, this worse than budget by 53,249. If I just scroll down in here, here's the regulatory compliance section. You'll see there's that 53,249 over budget here, and you can see the actual line items that contribute to that. So you can see the November 2024, this is that bomb cyclone for the hazardous trees. So that was $88,000 over on that line item. That was a new GL that was created just to capture those storm, those hazardous trees. So in future years, we could look back and see how much that storm cost us. But you can see like all these additional line items contribute to that $53,000 over budget. So you can see each and every category that contributed to that. And the same thing, like for example, how I said that contracted professional services over budget by 100,292. Let me find that in here.
So is legal in that one as well?
No, legal is in CCRs and mandate right in here. And so the good thing is this is the subcategory for each one of those major categories on the income statement. So you can see like legal services right here is worse than budget by 85,000. And that's also one of the line items, the third line item on the expenses section of the income statement, where it says it's worse than budget by close to 77,000. And there's the 77,000 here, and you can see that obviously a big portion of that is the legal services. Actually, it's most.
What is all the legal expenses on?
Oh, all sorts of various things.
It's more than last year.
It's quite a bit more, it looks like.
Well, I can tell you, actually.
We had a lot last year, so I don't remember.
I have it.
What are they, I mean, back to the question, what are, we say all sorts of things, but mostly what are we?
Is it mostly HR, or is it mostly?
Oh, it's a whole host of issues. So like some of these could be in terms of like UDR type line items in terms of past due accounts and things like that, collections. It could be like basically any other legal issue that the association is faced with.
So we got, yeah, there's some lease work that's going on. When we've gotten some properties that we're selling, just a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's real money, you know.
So at the end of August of 2025, the legal was 130,000. Well, actually, you can see it right here as well. 130,340 at the end of August of 2024. It was 109,000. So it's, yes, it's about 20,000.
And was it budgeted for this year after last year?
The budget for this year for legal is 67,500. So we have gone over, we've gone over that just a little.
Missed the budget number
Yeah,
by
it's significant.
significant.
Of course, the legal one, we increased this legal line item
What
for
was it,
the,
yeah, what is it for next year? Yeah, that was the question. We haven't done that.
do you happen to have the budget
That's all right.
open?
It's
And
not really
I can,
I had it.
I don't.
can bring it back up. Yeah.
That's all right, that's okay, I'm sure it was addressed.
and of course, the legal one is, looking forward to that one. That's a little more difficult to, because each, year by year, it just depends. There could be some bigger issue or a larger issue that becomes more expensive from a legal perspective. If it was just stuff like past due accounts and things like that, it would be different. So it really depends on what unforeseen issue is facing the association.
No, that's like every
Year-
category, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, I understand, yeah.
But that's a good thing in terms of like what I said from, as you go through these financial statements, like you can see it on, you can almost go down to whatever detail you want with the large version of this. And
Go ahead, I'm gonna interrupt you. Oh. But what I was gonna ask was legal, also, so you've had 2 years that are well over budget. Is it budgeted for this year? Obviously, there's ongoing problems, so is it in the budget higher for this year, or did we just leave it where it was and figure it would go over?
let me,
I think it went up some,
Just asking,
yeah.
like, are we not expecting to spend more than 60,000 again?
actually, what I'll do is, as soon as I finish with this document and get out of it,
That's fine.
I can open up
Yeah.
the budget and see.
Okay. Cool,
I'm just afraid if I jump out of this,
nope,
it's
all
the
good.
Zoom thing. But essentially, going back to the income statement, you can see the large difference is, it's in the expenses. The expenses are just flat out higher than what they were the year before. And like, for example, like in salaries and benefits, obviously, at the end of August 2024, salaries was 1.6, I'm rounding this, just 1.6 million. You can see it's about 1.7 million. So, and, you know, obviously this is budgeted, salaries is pretty much all budgeted for. It's, you know, unless we hired some manager, you know, that came in at a higher rate than what was budgeted. But all of the union stuff and all that stuff, we know exactly how much it'll go up. So like, for example, in 2024 to 2025, all union rates went up 3%, as according to the collective bargaining agreement. And then in 2026, same thing in that budget as well. And medical benefits and all of that stuff came in pretty much on budget. But then, like, for example, the ACC position, we did not have that position fully staffed last year, so we had budget savings with that. You know, now that position is fully staffed this year. So things can change from one year to the next in terms of like staffing.
Is construction slowing down?
A little bit from the year before.
Yeah, it's not as high as the year before. Of course, last year, that's when the building fees doubled essentially. So, and those, tell you, those raising of the building fees, that's what really, quite frankly, bailed us out of that November bomb cyclone. If it wasn't for that, then that's why we were able to go back and reclassify all of those expenses out of those capital codes and back into operations where they should be. So basically, all that bomb cyclone stuff in 2024 was all reclassified back into operations and paid for out of operations. So which allowed us, in terms of the capital budgeting, the 10-year capital budgeting, to retain what we planned on, you know, 2024 going into 2025. I'll just skip ahead to the reserve cash balance sheet right here. This is it's a really handy page. You know, it has all the major funds, all the reserve funds, surf roads, mailboxes, obviously those are right in your dues. UDR is another big one. But I'll just quickly run over this real fast again. But obviously it starts off with dues received. This is cash coming in, so not just just current dues, the 2025 dues, but any prior year dues as well that people are paying past due balances on to catch up their accounts. All of that gets into the cash for the dues received in CERF in this case. Then you see some interest, you see minor sale of assets. This 2025 expenditures, this is all cash going right out the door, like all the checks cut for all the projects and loan payments and so on and so forth. So obviously this 3.172 million is the ending cash balance on the balance sheet. And then the 3.666 million is the ending cash balance on the 8/31/2025 balance sheet amount. And then this section down here is the forecasted amounts. So like, for example, this is how much the dues that we expect to take in a 95% collection rate. Actually, since I talked about collection rate. So that's at 95%, and kind of just a little backtracking in terms of the income statement. So we budget for a 95% collection rate. At the end of August, it was a 97.5% collection rate.
And 97.5?
Yes, 97.5% collection rate at the end of August, year to date. And I know what it is at the end of September. Collection rate. At the end of September 2024 is 97.77, so you can see we're like really neck and neck with last year. And that's really good because, like I said, when we budget for a 95% collection rate, for every 1% over that, obviously we can only get up to 100% in this case for the 2025 operating dues. But so for every 1%, its ops would get an additional 28,561. SERF an additional 14,463, roads an additional 14,875, mailboxes $266. So since we're at 97%, you can double those amounts. If we got up to 98%, you could triple those amounts that I said. And that goes right to helping out the bottom line on the income statement and also helping out the reserve account. But the big line item here, the obligated expenses holdings right here, this 1.147 million. So I just, and this is an addendum on the Finance Committee website following the financial statement. So you can see the open capital projects, there's that 1.147 million that I talked about for SERF. And this table right here, this sheet is showing you all the open projects in right now, or at the end of August. And anything that the board approved through August as well. So if we look at, if we just look at this very last one, this 2025 asphalt cart path repairs, this is approved by the board on June 26th. It's approved for $54,080. You can see we spent through August $46,512, which means we have about $7,500 left over obligated that could be spent. And there's the same sheet on there for roads and the same one for UDR. So really the big open thing on UDR that's really getting activity would be this 2025 hazardous tree removal. So you can see that this is approved on June 12th. Here we are at the end of August. And you can see we've spent $60,000 of that. So we have close to $40,000 of that left as of the end of August.
For the rest of this year.
Yes. But the good thing is in the 2026 budget, that hazardous tree removal line item, that was line item that was really specifically targeted to increase. That's been increased $250,000 for 2026. Can you put that back for a second? What's that?
Can you put that sheet back?
Oh, yes.
The SERF one?
Trying to remove this, and here we go. Okay, good. You want to see, sir?
Oh, yeah,
Is that what you
I want to see it, go back to the other page for a second.
This one? You want UDR?
Previous page.
Yeah, the one, the other page before that.
Okay, roads?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That's what you want.
No, there was
Is there
another
another
one.
one?
There was
Probably
another
this one.
one.
It's probably this one. Yes, sir.
There we go.
That's the SERF one, yeah.
When do these get closed? So
Yeah.
like you've got
That's what I was getting at, that's
320
why,
for trim turf mower.
What line item did you just
The
say?
very first one.
the first three, the first six actually.
Oh, this
Or eight.
is a finance lease. So literally, these are finance leases.
Okay,
So
so
those are
months.
monthly, yeah, those are 5-year finance leases.
Okay.
That's the new term for
The
the capital
mower, the
lease.
mowers
How
are
come we
these?
lease them?
The term or term? Yes, that's a lease, yes. So you see how it says LE?
Oh,
Anything
LE,
that says LE,
okay.
next to it means a lease.
Okay.
And yeah, but why do they lease in terms of just flat out purchase it at the time?
Yeah.
At the time, like
Makes sense.
that would have been Jacob Close and Brian Krulak, like they would bring forward, hey, if we purchase it, it'll cost this much, or we could do a finance lease and this, or we could just do an operating lease, and then this was decided on. At the time, they called it a capital lease, which is finance lease now, but that's getting into the accounting weeds. But at the time, that's what was decided is the best thing.
Okay, oh, that's right, I forgot about that. So what about that fourth one, Area Z maintenance remodel? It seems like that's done.
Yeah, so-
Why wouldn't that be closed now?
Now, here's another good thing. So like you see that second column that says approval date?
Yep.
The handy thing about the way that this is laid out is, you see how it has 3 different dates on here? So that means the board made 3 different, they approved it on October 27, 2022, and then they made a change to this on October 12, 23, and then another one on August 22nd, 2024.
Here we go.
Yeah, so basically, why wasn't it closed as of the end of 2024? Because the project was still open, so they had not
And
completed
it's still
the
open
project.
right now.
No, this one's probably real close to being closed, but these, I'll tell you when all these get closed. When all these get formally closed is when the year-end financial statements are done, meaning like when it's prepared to send out to the auditors for audit. And then it's all kind of done in one swoop.
So the audit is done, right?
Yes, the audit is completely done, yes.
So it could be closed by now.
No, meaning like, since now we're in 2025, when 2025 gets closed out, then we go back and take a look at open projects and then, we'll talk to Tyler and managers. and
Area
hey, is
Z
this
was
done?
2024.
Yeah, but at the end of 2024, this was still open, so that's why
See
that's.
a little box that's covering up a whole bunch of this?
Yeah, sorry about
But, yeah,
So it just comes
but the
down,
24 audit is done.
yes, but what I'm saying is at the end of the year 2024, anything that has a date of 2024 before, those projects were not finished, so they were still open. So then they sit in construction in progress at that point. And then when they get closed, so like for example, let's just say and this happens, let's just say there's a project that was, we determine at the end of the year, when we close out, in this case, 2025, we fast forward here, and we're closing out 2025, the trial balance, and then we'll talk to people like Tyler and managers and stuff, and hey, is this project totally done? And then if it's done, then we'll go back and we'll close it out in the fixed asset system in the month that they completed it. So if they complete it and say let's just say in this case it was March of this year, then we'll close it out as of March and it starts to get depreciated from March forward for the rest of the year. Some of these obviously are just painfully obvious, they're done, like a sand trap rake, that's not a project, they just purchased it, we know that they purchased it.
No, it's an awful expensive sand trap, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know what it was? It was it goes on the back of a tractor.
Yeah.
Okay.
To rake the sand, it's not just a hand.
It is a handle rake, but it lasts a really long time, that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
for
sure.
backing up.
Yeah, no
What's
problem.
going on?
So one thing I do find hard to track or follow is you have reference in these capital project reports to the general ledger number,
Yes.
and we don't have that.
Oh, yes,
We have,
actually, you do.
well, we have
We have this.
these budget numbers that has the yellow column in 1 through 200 and whatever.
Uh-huh.
The general ledger usually gets in there during the capital request that the board sees. It's usually included in that, but,
Yeah, in
But
terms, here, I'll go right to, let's go right to the end of this, remember that long, so this is the 33-page version of the financial statement?
so is the 33-page version on,
Yes, it's on the website,
Posted.
yes. And so you'll see it at the, if you just go to the bottom page, it's getting into the reserve section, and you'll see every single one of those capital project codes on here, and the year-to-date amounts.
okay,
Yeah,
I see it there. I'm just saying it's hard to follow from the budget. Because it's
This was taken out of that budget. but-
usually.
yeah, right.
it's
Yeah.
usually-
When it's on there, it'll be on there in terms of the project descriptions. It will, so like, for example, the clubhouse, HVAC, 20-ton, there is a line item on there for the clubhouse.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. It's on there, but there's no general ledger.
There's no
number.
cross-reference, she has a hard time
Yeah,
finding one or the
it's
other.
it's like two different languages. You've got the year, you've got a number assigned to it, a dollar amount.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It
in
doesn't
terms
cross
of-
over
with
with the
that.
general ledger number, so then,
What software are you using?
C3, the accounting software C3. Actually, to throw, I shouldn't even say this, but to throw another wrinkle onto it, when the project is closed out and becomes a fixed asset, then it gets a fixed asset ID number, which is different than the project number, but
you know.
when it gets into the fixed asset ledger.
So, that makes sense.
In terms of the description though on there, if this, hopefully this is a little consolation, the descriptions on there are pretty good and match like, what it says.
Yeah, mostly they do. Some of them are a little different, but it depends on, sometimes you had
And-
something
yeah.
before and you replace it with a different brand or so the name's different.
Where's the lake, the dam repair on here, on your ledger?
Which one?
With your ledger, your,
Oh, you're talking about the first phase?
Yeah, phase 1.
I don't believe that one's been, has that one been approved yet?
It's on here, it should be
It's-
there.
no,
Well,
that-
so is that different than the slide gate that they're working on and getting ready to complete?
For the water
Or like-
thing?
Yeah. It's-
I believe that's one of the same,
It
right?
should be one of the same.
It's
I
one
always
of
thought it was
the,
one of the same,
Or
but I
the
don't-
terminology is different, because on here it just says dam,
Yeah.
phase 1, phase
and,
2.
and
we're not
that,
talking about a
those
slide
two
gate.
line items were additions this year. So those were not previously on the capital plan of the reserve study. So those two are new additions. And so to answer your question, I don't know precisely if when they created those two projects, or
Yeah.
in this case, it's a future project. So it's on the reserve study, or I mean, it's on the capital plan. Because it's on the capital plan, it might not be showing up like in the GL yet if the project has not yet been approved by the board.
Phase 1 was,
Yeah,
because phase 1 is done.
yeah, because they had
But
to
we're looking at
temporize it and
August, I mean, that could have
replace
happened.
it.
Oh,
We're
okay,
way
then,
back
yes.
in financials
Okay,
too,
yeah.
so that seems to be always an issue.
And here's another kind of little wrinkle, I guess. When the board approves a project, it's not gonna show up in the GL until spending starts happening on it. So a lot of times, like a project can get approved, but then it could be a while before invoices start coming in and checks are requested, to fund the project. So until that happens, it won't actually appear, like in the GL at that point. Meaning, it's in our system as a project code, but since there's no spending attached to it, it's, it just stays silent, so to
You
speak.
don't put it in like a zero cost, you don't even just put it like a 0 to it, when you.
Even if we put a 0 in it, unless it had like prior activity from like a prior year carrying forward,
Yeah.
then it would show up like that.
What if
as
you put a
well.
penny on it?
Well, if we put a penny on it, yeah, absolutely.
Then
it
they would show up.
It certainly would, yeah.
It's a penny, who cares?
But it would, but at least when it does get approved, it shows up on that capital project report. So anything that's approved by the board automatically gets onto that report, and then it's automatically being tracked as, hey, we have an amount of money here that's now obligated, and now taken away from the available reserve funds at that
But
point.
if you put them in with a penny, it doesn't hurt anything, and then you could see it, we could see everything, and they could see everything, everyone could see everything.
Well, you'd still see it on the capital project report. Actually, that would, in my opinion, I think that's the best way to look at it, because if it just showed up in the GL, all you'd see is a penny and that's all you would know, you know?
I think
But-
it's originally started as we were trying to figure out how you match up this with the GL.
To this,
Yeah.
yeah.
As opposed to the
Yeah,
original, but it doesn't-
the only way to like match it up, like on a going forward basis, would be for the project number to be on that spreadsheet. And then also in the reserve study, like but we could basically add whatever number we want, like as a tracking type number. So we could put numbers and letters and whatever in there.
Okay. Yeah, I think the confusion is, as we were talking about this line item,
Yeah.
and he was
Oh,
looking
sure,
at
yeah.
something different than I was looking at, and it was
Yeah.
hard to follow back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, and well, I know exactly what you're talking about, because like years ago, you know, when I took this over, it was the same sort of thing. It's like, where the heck is this on the 10-year capital plan, you know, so, yeah. Okay, we'll just, I'll go back to the cash reserve sheet, and let's cover this real fast, and that's it. We'll just go to the departmental kind of page for the income statement, and then we'll be done with the financial statements. But as I said, there's that total of 1.147 million, the obligated amount. So like, for example, if the board came along and said, here's a new project we're gonna do for $1 million, even though we haven't spent anything on it yet, then this obligation becomes 2.147 million in this case. So like, so then this available cash at the end of the year would drop by $1 million. So that's the great thing about this reserve cash balance activity sheet. And there's this board recommended carryover balance. It's essentially just an amount that the board would not like to drop below, 600,000 in this case. So then we just factor on, we have 600,000 left to spend to ensure that we have at least 600,000. And it's the same drill for roads and UDR and mailboxes.
So in essence, the carryover is an emergency fund, I mean, in a sense. It's,
Yeah, it's kind of, I
because
guess,
if you're protecting it, it's like, well, we're planning to spend all this other money, but we've got this set aside in case something
Yeah,
big
right,
happens, right?
yeah, to really, to keep from,
I mean, it could have been a hazardous tree thing,
it could have,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
if we didn't have
Yes,
excess
absolutely,
last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, this UDR fund, this is an operating reserve fund, this is not a part of capital reserves, but this is, which is, stands for undesignated reserve, and basically, of course, I mentioned this from month to month, but I'll just go ahead and mention it again, but how money really gets in there is this is prior year operating dues that people owed past due amounts, and that their recoveries that they're now paying. So if someone owed, and it's only the operating portion of the dues, not the capital portion, just that operating slice of it, that's what goes into UDR, like 2024 and prior. So if someone paid their dues today and it's 2025 dues, it does not go into there, it shows up on this income statement in operations, yeah. And you can see right here, there's the amount, 287,500, obviously this requires board approval, you know, it's like the hazardous trees was approved to be spent out of UDR. Now, the next few pages, I'll skip over this page. This
I
is,
have one question, DR, sorry.
yeah.
So is that an accumulation of past, or is that just last year's past?
Oh, no, that's the current, basically, pot of money, accumulation of all the past plus minus all the expenditures.
Accrued.
Right,
Yes.
so this is almost zero, unless we have a bunch more to collect, it won't go up that much.
It, well, I mean, like, we have had some good amounts go into it this past year for past due accounts.
So on some foreclosure actions,
Yeah.
they say you owe $20,000 in back dues.
Right.
If you don't pay it, we're gonna take you to court and we'll take your property.
Right.
Okay.
And all of a sudden they find money and pay it
Yeah,
off.
yeah, and we've been
They don't
receiving,
lose their
And it's only a
$600.
portion of that, it's not the whole thing.
yeah, it's just the operating portion of the
I
past.
guess I'm trying to see how this thing actually grows and how can we use as we continue to go forward and use it, because we're never really sure how much money's gonna be in that. It's kind of a slush fund, right? We're
Yeah,
not really
kind
sure.
A little bit,
Yeah,
but
kind of a
so
little, yeah.
if we set our collection rate at 95%, 5%,
It's past due.
is gonna end,
Yes.
it's gonna be past due, and when
Yeah.
we collect it,
Right.
potentially it gets in there, we're only maybe getting, I don't know, half of it or less maybe, but when it's late, that's where it goes instead of going into the
Yeah,
current
no, I
operating.
understand, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to see how you really, because it's everything, I'm just trying to think that this, if we're at a 97% rate, this is not gonna be a big fund as we go forward in the future, I don't think, because.
It's better for it not to be,
Yes,
honestly.
yeah.
But we do depend on it for, I mean, we're at minus 14,000 now, so we obviously used it this year,
Uh-huh, yeah,
so.
oh, yeah,
There's still a couple. Well, this, and again, this is August.
yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, we're way behind, so.
Yeah.
And, 100,000 of that came out for hazardous trees,
Yeah, no,
Obviously,
I-
we spent about 60,000 of that, but the obligated amount assumes we're gonna spend all 100,000, we will
Have we
anyways.
been taking a few trees out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Yeah, we don't,
RCC's got 3 more? No.
we don't rest when it comes to trees, unfortunately.
It's been nice to have this, I just, I'm saying that this doesn't seem like it's something you could actually count on
Yeah.
in the future.
You
Yeah,
pick
like-
one or the other.
Yeah, like in a perfect world, nothing would come in here because
Yeah.
people are always current,
And then there'd be excess, yeah, but it's not available.
Yeah, where is the bad debt, accumulated bad debt, it's on here somewhere. It's a huge number.
Yeah, so if you go back to the balance sheet, if you just wanted to see a quick number right here. Right here. Here, let me highlight this. There we go. So it says that August 31, 2025, December 31, 2024, the balance of receivables written off were $789,077 and $699,426 respectively.
And this was written off because,
Well, basically, we do things very conservatively here, like from the standpoint that as soon as something, this is during the year, as soon as something hasn't been paid, like we're now 30 days later, we just put it all to bad debt expense. Now, some
Sure, yeah.
of that at year end, we'll take back about 60 days of it just to pull it in compliance with GAAP at that point. So then we actually unwrite off some of that, we put it
okay,
back.
okay, how much,
but
what
this-
percentage
What's
do you
that?
put back? Do you write off?
Oh,
You're not, you don't really
yeah,
write so much
yeah,
off, yeah.
it's not necessarily a percentage, it's the amount of days, so like 60 days, unless we'll put that back, in a
Okay.
sense, onto the,
But I mean, like, these numbers then aren't real accurate because you say they were written off, but then you say if it was only 60 days, you'll put it back on the.
at year end, for the year end audited financial
That's
statements.
why I was
and our
asking how
year-end
much of
statements.
this, like a quarter of this goes back, half of it goes back.
Well, like,
Well, most of it's at UDR.
yeah,
So-
actually, I'll show you like on, if we go back to here, member receivables and operations, 50, so you see how it's at 0 for August
That's the
2025?
balance sheet.
It's at 0 because we put it all to bad debt expense. Now you can see at the end of December 31, 2024, 53,456 went back into receivables. So came out of, in a sense, bad debt expense and went back.
And then when you write it off, are you going after the land? I mean, you're not just writing it off, right?
Well, then it becomes kind of like what
The
we were
legal.
talking about with the S,
Well,
then it goes to the legal aspect.
The write-off is just an
Yes.
accounting.
That's
thing.
the accounting thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's-
No, we don't forget about it.
We don't give it up.
Yeah, it's not.
We're still going after it, but
It's hard to collect.
Well, it
Interesting
costs,
to see
it
it.
costs as much to collect it, is it?
The good thing is our collection rate is great right now, being at, like I said, being at 97.7%.
No, that's really great, but when you look at that, that was 1.3 million in 2 years, that's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
collectively especially, over the years, because, we do have some really old accounts, where some of these people owe quite a bit of money, and
so that's one thing the
Yeah.
board's been getting a little more aggressive on this last
Okay.
year
Yeah.
or two. is
and
pushing
these,
those out.
these are old balances, like accounts that have really
Yeah.
been hanging around
Years and
since,
years and
since
years.
like,
And the other thing is, with Wukaiwa, it's gonna change, there's gonna be a statute of limitations on how far back you can go.
uh-huh.
It's only gonna be, I don't know, 6 or 7.
Is that the changes that are coming in January?
Well,
That's 2028, right?
2028 is when it all goes into effect, but the state keeps meddling with it and
Yeah.
instituting some of it sooner. So it's confusing.
Like technically right now, the budgetary ones are in effect. you know, how budgets are presented and so on. So the good thing is, I've always pulled all those in line anyways with that rule, so.
But
Okay,
yeah, if we collected 100%, we wouldn't have to raise dues.
No, I mean, we would, in 2 years, we'd have $1.3 million more than.
Have they ever thought about allowing people to reverse those lots back that were divided? I mean, I know, or can they even?
oh, you mean to like unconsolidate lots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay a fee and
Of course, that is,
consolidate, you
I don't
know,
think-
and
I
then
don't
you got double dues
I
on
don't
it
think the
again.
county, I
Yeah,
don't think the county can, well, allows it right now.
Well, I know they didn't initially, but with the housing shortage and what they're making, lots of town are being divided into 3.
But
Yeah.
we're in the Lake Watcom overlay district.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
they're trying to minimize development in the watershed.
They might allow it
As
if
I
there's
understand.
more than 2, if there's like 5, so there's some big chunks out here, isn't there?
Yeah, so, so, for example, I think for ADUs, I think it has to be like 4 acres or 10 acres or 20 acres, depending on where it is in the overlay. Because that's another way to get another
Chunk.
housing.
Well, we also own land, I mean, that's gonna be absolutely useless if we don't do something with it, right? The airport strip.
Well, I think the obligation when I think we gave up, 700 lots? 600 or 700 lots, we said, we're gonna keep green.
oh, the green space.
Yeah.
Where the airport was.
Well, I don't think that was lots, those weren't lots, that
never was
was plotted as an airport.
Yeah.
No, some of the other lots that are probably too steep. and,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
That kind of stuff.
And we do have a few available for sale lots. One was already sold, but, yeah. I guess the last page that we'll hit on real quick, then we'll be done with these financial statements. So basically, you're looking at the income statement again, but now you're looking at a departmental level. So there's that $213,745 in net operating income right there. And now you can see what departments contributed to that. So you can see, like, for example, ACC security, you know, right here was, get to it. Yeah, that was worse than budget by,
He's talking right over here. You've got us blocked on your little black thing on your screen is blocking
What?
we're
Copy
talking.
text, yeah.
There we go,
It keeps popping up on our screen here.
for some reason.
this thing. There we go. How's that?
Thank you.
Okay, so you can see, you know, better, worse than budget, HCC security, I won't highlight it so that box doesn't show up again, but, you know, 73,497, and, you know, obviously in HCC security, that's the hazardous trees. And, okay, here's another good thing too, let's just do this quick exercise. So they're worse than budget by 73,497. Well, remember how I said this is a 33-page document? Well, we could, if we wanted to, we could just go right to the ACC security. It's right, here we go. There's that 73,497 worse than budget. Now, if this has all the GLs on there, you could see exactly what was over or under budget wise. But that's what I mean in terms of like, it starts off at, you know, the 10,000 foot level kind of view, and then it gets more and more granular. You could go right down to the individual department if you wanted to
Yeah,
look at.
I think we understand that, Joel, and I think that's actually great, it's a great feature. I think, sometimes if we say, like on your P&L, you've got these line items, if we could just have a list of where you know that they were off, and then people could go and by how much, can look where they are, because you've got all this information, this is great information, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I would say in terms of like, you know, those expenditures, remember where I was drilling down to like those, to the actual main line item, showing how it shows what contributed to the line item. Like that is, because I myself, you know, like when I put these statements together, it's like, oh, look at this line item, and then I go right to that page to see.
Right.
Yeah, to look at.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
that you can do that.
I understand what you're saying though too, so if you said this stuff was all on budget, if these were not, and here's, instead of having someone go look at that, present it, and just maybe break that particular one down, the ones that are off,
We can
to
talk about
present to the
that.
public, you know,
Yeah.
it might be easier for them to see what's
Because
going on.
even for me, as we're jumping around, I'm having a little hard time focusing because you're running it, which is,
Yeah.
you should be.
Yeah.
But it's just harder for me to follow it that way. I think all this information is great. Well, maybe we can talk about it, if that's okay, a little bit later because,
Yeah, I think the confusing part is when somebody asks a question about a line item, and then you go to the 33-page report and list all those others that we don't have on the screen.
And honestly, I think the only questions that are gonna be asked, that should be asked, if a budget's accepted, is when it's way out of budget.
Right.
So you might have 2 or 3 items that you need to, maybe even on a separate, you make a separate thing that says, here's the breakdown of these items that are way out of budget.
Yeah.
And then not be flipping all the way back through the other booklet, it might help, or just take those sections.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say too, though, the income statement, you know, see how that already fills up one page in and of itself, you know, like it would, if I had kind of that grouping on the page, then the whole income statement would become like 1.3 font, you know, like
What's that?
level size, yeah, so then it becomes,
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the limitations of the financial statements too, when so much stuff, whether it's a
Yeah.
balance sheet or whatever. They're like tinkering with the font to try to get it, it's kind of like, you know, when you do a college paper and it can only be 5 pages long, you know, and you're fiddling with the margins and stuff to
yeah.
pull it in. That's what I love about that, especially because it follows the income statement, you know, where it breaks down each kind of line item grouping, especially those expenses on the income statement. Then you can see every single category that contributed to that over or under, like budget for that. Usually, obviously, it's the over budget stuff that, you know, that I'm focusing
Right,
on,
sure.
that people are focusing on.
Yeah, I think what might be more usable information would be, okay, so we look at these departments, one of them, so I've been on some boards where we know there's gonna be some minor fluctuations month to month or quarter to quarter, however often you're meeting. We're not worried about a 2 or 3, but you set some sort of limit.
Oh, I'm not,
If it's 10% over or 20% over, we wanna understand why that one's off.
Yeah.
Other ones, maybe you do a deep dive on that to explain just exactly where it's coming from for that particular, say,
Yeah.
CCC.
Yeah, like, for example, oh, sorry.
That might help too, is like we have, and we're all following what you're doing, and you've gone over it, I think, just about every time how it works. So if you have your first page, and let's say there's 2 things, 3 things that are way over budget, okay? And then maybe you printed and scanned them, just those in, and so it was like not a 33-page dive where you're flipping through, because I think that's confusing in itself. And you just, like, if you're going to show this at the meeting, right? Do you show this at the general meeting? And then just show why we're over on another page or 2, not have 33 pages, just maybe take those pages needed. Can you do that, or is that'd be way more work?
So, yeah, I mean,
I'm
how
trying
I
to
do
see how
it, we do like an income statement or balance sheet or whatever, but the income statement, and you see all the income statement, and you see everything that was off, and then on those major items, you would have another summary page telling why that section was
It's
off.
off, just,
Right,
yeah,
just a summary
exactly.
page, it's, yeah, so that's.
And even if you write, you could even do it in
right,
notes.
It was right, it was notes,
Yeah.
this is why this was off.
This was
And
off
then if you
because
need
we
more
had to
information, go to this page.
Go to the 33-page report.
Yeah, go to.
Yeah, and in terms of like the notes thing, like if notes, of course, this becomes a concern if notes especially start getting added to this page, you know, then I kind of get right back to, now there's like 1 trillion things, you know, like showing up on the one page, and then the font has to get smaller and
No,
stuff like
because
that.
because now you're gonna have a 33-page report, you're gonna have a 2-page report. You're gonna
Yeah.
have your P&L, and then you're gonna have your notes page. And then if there's more that people wanna say, you just say, well, reference this part, or
Then
reference
you
this
need to go to
section.
the other, but I think that,
But you don't have, you don't need all of this for a summary report.
Yeah, of course, or we could do this, see how you see the income statement right here? Like, it could be followed by these 2 pages, which breaks down every single one of these line items of why something's or we're under budget. Like, let me just, because I'll tell you, this is exactly what I do after I get these statements together. Let's just look at regulatory compliance. There we go. Regulatory compliance, over budget by 53,249. Then what do? I flip to the subcategory for regulatory compliance, which is exactly right here. And it shows every single,
Right,
basically, detail that goes in.
right, so we can skip everything in between if you could line these pages up with each other, it might make it simpler.
I mean, but the stuff that is in between here is, like the higher level stuff, the departmental income statements.
Just keep that part.
Yeah, meaning like that part would have to,
That.
Hey,
the
guys.
two-
Guys, I have a suggestion. I
Yeah,
have a suggestion, perhaps, rather than building a report that gets shown to either the members at a town hall or something. Perhaps what it is pulling the data from these highly detailed sheets and putting it in a PowerPoint slide and building, really what it is then is a presentation. Because rather than navigating, I'm sorry, rather than navigating through these detailed spreadsheets, maybe what it is if
After flipping through it, your brain kind of goes,
it's the way it's presented, yeah.
and some of this, quite frankly, also could be that, like you're not quite as, well, meaning whenever this stuff shows up in the finance committee packages, it's always just that 7-page, or 6 pages is really what it is, six different pages. And every single time I pull this up, whether it's at a board meeting or a finance committee meeting, I always pull up the teacher's copy, I guess you could call it, like the 33-page one. And so for you, of course, you're not used to seeing that. You just see what's in the agenda, that's it. And of course, and when I pull it up, I never even.
you know it. You've been working on
Right,
it, yeah.
I know it, and then I
Yeah.
know too. Oh, I'll just flip to that page, because like when I print it out to come in here, I just print out
Right.
and then sometimes someone's like, I'm on page 5, well, it doesn't, and then I remind myself, oh, that's right, they're looking at the agenda, that's
But I
version,
think
that's
in
page.
presenting it to the public, I mean, how would you present it to someone who doesn't look at financials at all? What they look at, they're gonna look at Sun Valley's profit and loss, okay? And then they're gonna see, oh wow, they're way over budget on these 3 things. So how could you show them simply, because if you flip through all the stuff, you're gonna lose them.
You'll lose them.
And you're gonna lose, and that's gonna be probably 80% of the people that show up at that meeting, okay? So what you wanna be able to do somehow is to capture them and explain to them, these are over budget for a reason, and a good reason. We haven't messed, we've been careful with money, here's what's happening.
Yeah, and in that case, I just go right to this breakdown of that major line item on
Yeah,
the income
you
statement.
do, but even that, I think this could be too much for some people. I think if you
Well, I mean, but
just
I don't,
got,
that breakdown has the detail right there.
Can I
It's
weigh
just
in?
huge.
can I weigh?
I think it's a lot for most people because I just kind of look at, Ken and I, who have had our own business, and it gets confusing for all of us. And it's like, I kind of think of those books like, this for dummies, that for dummies. And don't get me wrong, I'm not calling anybody a dummy. But, sometimes it's just like, keep it simple because that's not my area of expertise. So make it easy for me to understand. And I think that's what we've been really seeing this year in this committee is people really want it to be a little clearer because we're not as smart as you, Joel. Like we're not in those accounts all the time. And I think maybe even if we don't jump back and forth and it's just kind of like, we go to page 1, 2, 3, 4, and it follows as opposed to going back and forth. I think that would be super helpful.
And I understand you're going, okay, it's all of this information's on this other page, But maybe that other page, I mean, think about presenting, like, let's say, think about presenting to 12-year-olds, okay? And say, you got your profit and loss, okay? And we know these things are over budget, okay, in your budget, you got showing. So now, maybe just the act of bringing up another, like, accounting-looking page is too much. Maybe each one of those, this one's 50,000 over, 1, 2, 3, here's why.
Yeah,
It's number 2, it's over, 1, 2, 3,
these are why.
why,
These are
you know, you could even put it on a whiteboard, you know. Just very simple, because when you've got a room full of people that don't do accounting, and you are with these numbers every day, or at least probably 3 days a week, I'd say, and they're never with them, we're with them once a month. So my guess would be that by pulling up even maybe another accounting looking sheet, they're gonna get lost. So it's kind of just trying to simplify it for the general meeting, because I think everybody's done a really good job.
Oh, well, I mean, at the general meeting, this doesn't get presented. Are you talking about the AGM?
Yeah, you don't
Because- No,
present
no,
that?
this,
Okay.
yeah, this won't get
Okay.
presented to them.
I get to
And
do.
monthly, I mean, let's face it,
Yeah.
90% of
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
Yeah, I-
members don't have accounting background. And if you don't have accounting background, it can be very difficult to understand. And it's not because they're not smart, it's just because it's just not their education. They know other
It's
things.
3 pages.
It's also, yeah,
It's just a lot of
everybody's
difference.
coming in here for an hour, and everybody who's watching the Zoom is not working with this all day, so you have this adjustment of looking at a lot of information.
So,
I mean,
yeah, I think it would be, I mean, to rely on your expertise, it would be informative to know when you see a line item that scares you,
Uh-huh.
those are the ones we want to be aware of.
Right, and that's exactly
Right.
what, yeah, but that's what I'm pointing to, you know, like,
Well,
you are,
you know.
yes, you are, but it's also,
Meaning, here's the thing, on one hand, it's like, if this line item is over budget, we need to know what it is. Then I point to it, see, this is why it's over budget. Well, but if you
Yeah.
could just explain why it's over budget, it's like, I just
No,
did.
that's not what I'm saying, if you could, anyway, maybe we should have this conversation another time. How could you, this is kind of taking us
down the rabbit hole.
down, well, it's taking a long time, but,
anyway, I think conceptually, we all agree it could be
simplify,
better.
yeah.
And a little, maybe, so, and it,
So can I just, from my point of view, it's not like we're trying to criticize you, Joel. We're just trying to make it easier for more people to understand.
Right.
Just kind of looking at alternate ways of presenting it, but it's not really a criticism per se.
Oh, no, I'm not taking any of it as criticism, right?
You're showing us the whole, and you've done it every time, and I understand it, and you have taught that to us, we do understand, okay, here's the breakdown. But I don't know that we need to know the whole thing, we need to know why just a few things are over. And even in scrolling through, like, if I have a little bit of an ADD mind, when these pages just start going like this, it's a lot. If it's just one page, and then here's the reason, go ahead, yeah.
so maybe you and I can work a little bit on just having a conversation about it and kind of bounce it back and forth for this next board meeting and see if we can come up with some minor changes. I don't know, we'll see.
It might not, too, I mean, it might,
Yeah,
what it is.
It doesn't hurt to try something different.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to try something different, and we can always go back.
Because I think basically, Joel's bringing up the important items.
Right.
We just need to
Yeah.
maybe get away from scrolling.
Oh,
It might be
yeah,
might be
Are all of
scrolling.
these 7
You think it
pages in
is?
the 33?
I think that's a big
Yes,
part of it.
they are,
I think
yes,
it's a big
right.
part of it. It's
Okay,
just
so-
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah,
the ones that aren't in the 7-page packet would be the pages that I scroll to, you know, to say like, here's the breakdown of this major line, and those are not in that 6-page little packet.
I think like she just said, and I feel like it too, I think it's the scrolling.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
It's,
in terms
yeah,
of-
like
yeah.
if you actually just printed out what you needed and scanned them back in and then just showed those.
Sure, yeah.
Then we're not like
yeah.
going through this
Right.
stuff over and
And,
over.
and actually, yeah, I was just about to suggest I could include those as well, so that way I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 20
You're not-
pages into this.
You're not, yeah, so just take like a,
Yeah.
half hour and figure out what exactly
Oh, that
you
would
need to
actually
show
save you a little
us.
time,
Sure.
too, you wouldn't have to
Yeah.
scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not the back and forth, because I get lost sometimes. I go, what page are you on? It's like you
Yeah.
have this great reference to 3 pages ago. Like I'm going, which one was it? And I'm not totally stupid, but
Yeah.
sometimes it'd just be nice to do like, give me pages, give me 5 pages, and now we're on page 3. Now we're on page 2. Like help me.
I think,
Yeah, I think it'd be
we need
rough.
I think what we need is another format, because when we're in the board meeting and when we're on Zoom, the font is so small in Excel that it's difficult to see, and so we're not always seeing the numbers. So it's very difficult to follow. That's why, I don't know if you guys heard me, that's why I was suggesting maybe more of a presentation. Hello? Can you hear
I
me?
mean, but
Hear you.
I'm trying
the
to
same
finish
information
up.
just shows up in the PowerPoint.
I know I'm
They
long-winded,
just
I know I'm
zoom in.
long-winded, I'm just, okay, well, it's just feedback, Joel.
No, I don't think it's just you, Rob, no.
I think if you try, you figure out a way to just show us those few pages.
Sure, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Simplify it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meaning like as you were talking, I was
Yeah.
thinking, well, why don't I just include those pages?
just those right there. And
The sections.
and then that's all we need, we don't need the
Right.
33
Yeah.
page thing report.
Oh,
And
sure,
if
yeah, yeah,
If somebody wants more, then they can ask it and you can give it to them later,
yeah. Yeah.
Just make sure the
But-
font's large enough, just make sure the font's large
Yeah.
enough that it can be seen in Zoom. You could do a practice session in Zoom and see what it looks like.
Yeah, just remember it's an old board. Our eyes aren't that good. I wish I could follow you as good as, as much as you're so fast, Joel. I wish I could, like, my brain could follow you, but it just doesn't always.
Guys, I gotta run, sorry, but I gotta jump off.
Any more high?
Rob?
Yeah, I
Are you
think he
there?
went. I think Rob went away.
Yeah, he said he had to run.
Oh,
Okay.
So I won't even ask why. It was a hurry.
Okay, I will close this 33-page document. The first time I want to show you something on page 27.
We love you, Joel.
Oops. I think, did that stop the screen share when I close that?
I would
It's
say
still-
it's
yeah, it's
You
not-
did.
No, that's good.
Do we need this on there?
No, I don't think so.
And now I'm just looking at you guys in your room there.
Okay.
We're gone.
So, anything else?
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna open up the budget, but I don't want the comments on that.
The budget is done.
Yeah, budget is done.
So I did have one question,
Sure.
a general type question. So, these reports tell us what is either been completed or in progress,
Yeah,
right? For the year or the recent years, some of them overlap a little bit. So we also have our capital projects, right? The plan,
yeah,
the 10-year and
10-year
the 30-year plan.
yeah.
So there are a lot of projects that are slated for 2025
Yeah, that's right.
that haven't been
Yeah,
acted on.
or they might not.
Well, that's right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how normally is that tracked? Who keeps track of what we should be doing or in the plan should be
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
and not?
Oh, that's definitely the general manager and the department managers, because all of those projects or potential projects
Right.
track back to the department. So,
Right.
and it's I can tell you, it's usually the GM Yeah, and
Yeah.
department manager, or Tyler, especially if it's a roads type thing.
Yeah,
And some of those, like, well, just like you said, there will be a number of things that's listed in 2025. Of course, during the capital budget, it shows up again in 2025 because they very well could be approved by year end now. And I'll tell you what's going to happen if they don't get approved. Then when this capital budget is done again for next year, then it's kicked to the 2026 line item, unless someone says, oh, we're not planning on doing that anytime soon. I think we'll do that maybe in 2028, then it gets moved out to 2028. So,
so the things that weren't done in 2024 that were on 2024 got pushed to 2025?
yes.
Okay, so to me, that would create a potential cash flow problem if you, especially have a couple of emergent things come in, like, I'm not sure if the dam was.
Well, yeah, okay, so it's kind of, this is kind of an interesting question. So I guess maybe, go ahead, I think I know where you're going with this. Give me an example of.
Well, so, is there, I mean, the plan is a 10-year plan.
Yes.
And now we're commingling years of when we're doing things. It seems like there's a potential for, or that may explain why we don't do as many things in the plan, is because we're playing catch-up from.
Yeah, it's something, okay, so anything that's in, because I think what you're referring to is, if you have stuff in 2025 that doesn't get done for whatever reason, does that cause a cash flow problem? It won't, because anything that's in 2025 is the 2026 beginning balance assumes that's going to be obligated, and it's already subtracting it from the beginning balance, so to speak. So like,
So as soon as you started, it's already taken.
yes,
care of.
yes. So, yeah, the January
But the
20.
cost has gone up.
As long as they approve it in 2025, but you're right, if they don't do it, then we get into 2026, then it kicks forward at 3%, or 4%, 4% inflation, yes. That does happen. Maybe not though, like for example, let's just say that it is approved in 2026, they finally get around to it and it's February 2026, the cost could stay the same, so it's like.
Yeah, it might be.
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
that can happen as
There's no
well.
guarantee, yeah.
Like the way that 10-year capital plan, it takes a very conservative approach in terms of, those things might not quite be as expensive as what it says, but so like for example, Barn 8, perfect example, like that came back from King Works at around 3.7 something or other $1 million for all that work. And, in 2025, we got that. So it's slated to be on the capital plan for 2026. So it automatically takes a 4% hit to get it from 2025 to 2026. Now it becomes 4 million to do all that stuff. It very well, it might not be 4 million. It might still be the 3.7 or whatever. So.
Usually doesn't go down. Usually things usually, sometimes it stays the same.
Right.
It's just the way.
So
It
the other.
just depends on how soon, like they do work, so like to Rick's point,
Yeah.
if something's in 2025 and they don't get to it till 2026, does it automatically become 4% more expensive? Maybe, maybe not, when they approve it. I'm not talking about the barn, I'm just talking about whether it's equipment or a bridge or something like that, maybe it could be around the same price as what's in the 2025 bill. Depends on how soon they do it in
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
2026.
I think the other thing that maybe rank and file members don't appreciate in the capital plan is that there are 3 assumptions.
Uh-huh.
The inflation rate of 4%,
Yeah.
the interest rate of 2%,
Uh-huh.
and a 3% built-in dues increase.
Okay,
It's assuming that.
yes, yeah, that's assuming that the dues gets approved in 2026, so.
Yeah, each year, though.
Yes, no, you're talking about.
Going forward,
You're
right?
talking about the reserve study.
Oh, the
You're
whole
not-
reserve study.
Yeah, you're talking about the reserve study, yeah,
Yeah.
there's one table in the reserve study called the current funding table. It's a funding plan, there's just one out of many funding plans in there. That one assumes the dues will go up 3% every single year, so that's the assumption on that. That might not happen, but of course, that's not the recommendation.
But that's the assumption, and so every year that you don't raise the dues
Yes.
by 3%, you're 3% behind.
Behind,
in the capital.
And
You're behind.
to your point, even if you did 3%, it's not enough.
Well,
It's not
sometimes
enough.
it's not
It's
enough.
not
Well,
enough.
according to that, especially the surf.
Well,
You know.
if you have a 4% inflation rate, you only raise it 3, something doesn't match up.
Yeah, it doesn't catch up, you're not gonna catch up.
Right, so that's a point I've gotta make at the AGM.
Yeah, I guess that's, yeah.
And, you know, obviously 2026, what's built into the funding plan assumptions is that $4 million loan funding for the projects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, back to the agenda.
What's our going on?
I could go back and do the July statement.
You're good, well, thanks, you've helped us quite a bit tonight, thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you
It's good being in person.
hearing us. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is,
it's more personal. It's just,
as
yeah.
convenient as it is to be at home,
Yeah.
it's nice to be in person.
Yeah, I think that's why you get to know people a little bit
I
better.
repeat it on my desk with my tea.
Yeah, bring your Yeti with you or something.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item is a request for phase 2 of the Lake Louise slide gate. So I don't know why they don't call it the dam or whatever, but anyway, the slide gate replacement project, it's got its capital code 9725.08 to complete the structural concrete reconstruction and installation of the new slide gate and site restoration. So the good news about this was they thought they might have to replace the culvert underneath the road. And it turned out they didn't, so that's why the numbers are much less than the worst case scenario estimate.
Okay.
So phase 1's been completed or nearly completed, I believe, and
Do we know about that, what cost was that? I don't remember, I know we agreed to it, and I know it's on here,
the what?
the phase 1, was that the 30,000? Was that about what we allocated for it? I was just curious about what we allocated. Well, here it says 30.
This is all phase 2, let's see.
It's an additional 40, but
It originally was 30?
I have, so on this sheet I have, it's, the total between the two is like 125,000, and so I'm just trying to figure
What
if
was
they
the,
match up.
what was the, well, that's less, because they didn't have to do the culvert.
phase 1.
On June 12th, it was 30,895.54.
Okay, so it's the same,
Yeah.
okay. I was just curious,
And
so, and this time we're asking for.
40,000.
Oh, so we.
78,000, so it's actually less.
With the contingency,
Yeah.
It's a lot less,
yeah, it's a lot less,
But,
because they didn't
but
have
the
to do it.
phase 2 was not originally budgeted for?
not until 2032,
Oh, wow, okay.
that's why it's confusing. So I have 2032 phase 2, which I don't know why you have phase 1 and phase 2 so far apart, I don't get it. Maybe it's because they're Polder, I don't know.
Yeah, phase 1 wasn't originally budgeted for in 2025 either last year, so that was,
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think,
just
I think it was all
Just
in
add.
32,
Yeah.
I think it was all in 32, and it got pushed forward because it was leaking.
Oh, okay, that's what happened, that makes sense, okay, sorry, I was just confused for one second. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so
Alright,
they have to take the
I'm
money from somewhere else, right?
done. No, doesn't sound like it.
No?
Oh, yeah, they had to because it was just approved.
Well, there are projects that haven't been started this year,
Right.
yeah.
so it,
Okay,
it's kind of mushy, it give and take, but that's the way our system works.
But I mean, but the one good thing about this is now baked into the 2026 10-year capital plan, so meaning it is accounted for in the overall spend
Sure.
for the next.
Right.
No, and there's no point in doing it halfway. You'll just end up redoing the whole
yeah,
thing.
right, for
Right.
sure.
Meaning like if this was done, especially if there was something large added before the budget process, then that could have a wrinkle that we just don't know until we run the numbers, so to speak, you know, like, but the spreadsheet runs all the numbers, that's the good thing with the.
Okay.
I say they finish it.
Yeah, I say they finish it too, I mean,
We don't want it halfway done.
Right,
and we're getting it at
Agree.
anticipated.
right, so the proposal from Stremler Gravel is $29,223.25, and then they've got An expedited slide gate delivery, so we can get it done before winter. State tax, supervision, and 10% contingency. That brings it to $40,890.
And that 10%
$10.48.
is only if you need it, right? That 10% is only if you need it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That should be.
It just, if something pops up, they don't have to stop.
Where does the
They're not
slide
spending more
gate
money.
delivery come from? I mean, where does the slide gate come from?
I have no idea.
It's $2,500 to deliver.
I thought I saw that somewhere, but
It's gotta be a pretty heavy,
It's probably pretty, I mean,
Chunk
it's
of
probably
metal.
steel.
yeah.
It's a little crane to get it off there.
Yeah, I think they said something about that. Okay, so any other questions about?
so
Oh,
the
yeah.
motion's kind of written again, wrong again, so, just to kind of get it going, can I read the motion? Move that the finance committee, should have, recommend to the SVCA Board of Directors to approve the allocation of $40,890.48 from SURF as a change order to SURF Capital Code 9725.08 to complete Phase 2 of the Lake Louise side gate replacement project and authorize the general manager to execute a change order with Stremler Gravel Inc. as per their proposal dated September 10th, 2025. And that was a bigger mouthful than I expected.
Yeah, so down below, it does state recommended or not recommended, not approved, so that, we got that part right anyway. So,
That whole, like, they're still recommending like the board of directors, so we have to work on getting that wording corrected, but
any other questions or comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Unanimous, okay, we'll recommend that to the board. Thank you. The next proposal is to replace some snow plows and a sander and what's the other thing? Anyway, two sets, basically. These are in our reserve study for replacement this year. And as is explained in the proposal, they did not seek multiple bids because of a local vendor that can service this equipment that is being attached to equipment that only matches up with what's being placed on, back on it. So it just felt like it was a better plan to stick with somebody local that can service it, and they have been servicing it. So we got the money to do it. 40,000 set aside, 20,000 for each set. And the estimates are just under 28,000, not counting the tax.
So it's like 10,000 less than what was allocated?
Well, by the time you get freight, taxes, installation, it's gonna be about 35, but it'll still be less, it looks
Yeah,
like.
it does.
So the request is for an authorization to spend up to $35,000 from SURF to cover purchase, installation, freight, and taxes, with any unused funds to be returned to SURF upon completion.
I mean, we need to get our roads plowed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So let's see, somebody else want to read this motion,
Go for it.
Move that the SVCA board, no, yeah, the SVCA board of
Finance
directors. Yeah, what, Taimi, what's the change that you usually make?
Well,
Yeah, just move that the finance committee recommend that so you do it though.
Yes, move that the finance committee recommend and approve the allocation of up to $35,000 from SURF for the purchase and installation of snow removal equipment as outlined, authorizing the maintenance and facilities manager to proceed with the procurement and installation.
any other discussion? Okay.
I'll
all
second
in
that and, yeah, sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, thank you.
These are cars. Actually, I had questions on the truck.
All right, and the next item is request to replace
Oh, this is to do with.
maintenance truck described here as up 23, a 2016 Chevrolet 3500 with a new or equivalent truck, Ford F-350, Chevrolet Silverado 3500 or Ram 3500, using funds allocated in the 25 capital reserve study. So in the reserve study, it looks like it's referred to as truck 16, but here they call it op 23, so I'm not sure. The terminology isn't necessarily that important, I guess.
So I will just tell you for what it's worth that I talked to my in-house expert who knows Kendall, both of the Kendall companies, and also Dwayne Lanes felt that the 2024 Ram, apart from it being the most expensive, also because it is a year older, would have not as good as a trade-in allowance. Felt that Kendall Chev, for two reasons, was a really good one to go with, only because of their high trade-in allowance, because they are a Chev dealer and they're trading in a Chev, and also he happens to know that Kendall Chev has a lot of inventory that they're looking to move. So my in-house expert definitely agreed with Mike that the Silverado was a way to go, for what it's worth.
Well, I was just gonna say, as long as these, the Kindles were more better machines, they should just go with them anyway, because yeah, better trade-in, newer model.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's with Taimi's expert opinion and what's
Yeah.
out here, right?
Are these are gas trucks? Or,
Yeah, I'm sure the gas trucks.
Yeah, I thought the Ram might have been a diesel, but I'm not sure what
That might be the
Ken was
difference,
telling me
yeah.
this morning.
Obviously, yeah. You don't.
But
When it comes to vehicles, I always kind of defer to him because that's what he does for a living, so.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a no-brainer anyway, to me.
A Ram is not as massive truck as a Chevy, yeah, anyways, but.
So they're asking for how much, they're asking for like up to $40,000 or something? What was that?
56.
56.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So 56, so if we're gonna think we're getting up to 31, are we actually gonna say, okay, you can have 56, or do we need to say 56 and then see what they can come back with?
It's, yeah, I think the request is for up to, and that any unused funds will be returned.
Because what they're estimating is like 31.
Yeah, I know.
So,
You
yeah,
say
I mean,
40
these
instead
are
of
real
56?
numbers, these look awful cheap for trucks.
Well, they're getting a very generous trade-in, right, 20,
Well, even the list price seems really cheap. I mean, I'm sure they're stripped down, but. I mean,
Yes,
Well-
the trade-in allowance is definitely generous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, but the original quoted price is also very low.
but like Taimi said, they have a lot of inventory.
A lot of
so
inventory, so
maybe
trying to move some.
They're trying to.
Yeah.
put the
Ken just
sale
happened to know that they have a lot of extra inventory right now.
Yeah, I'm fine with this, I just wondered.
Yeah,
why they
I'm
put
just
that whole
questioning the
26.
price, but it's, if we give them for that price, that's totally fine.
So-
And in 2025, and he was looking at the, what they're getting for a trade-in for the vehicle. He thought they were getting a really good trade-in allowance.
Yeah, if what they have here is true, then
Yeah.
it'd be great.
Yeah. I guess the reason they're requesting the full quoted price is you never know what all that dealing. And the extra gets back into reserve, so.
But this is, so it could be
Good
just.
thing that phase 2 that you approved, you know,
It's
at least
just
there's
probably
like
stripped
a
down.
$44,000 savings
Yeah.
over 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So
White,
that's-
Yeah.
White,
Okay,
Even with the
yeah.
4%.
and then there's
Yeah,
tax.
with that, yeah, with that, taking that into account.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
it was
that,
like 85,000 in 2032, you know, when it gets out to that point. So over the course of that 10-year window, that's frees up 44 grand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, any other questions?
well, I just think if they don't get them for around the price they're quoting here, they should maybe come, I mean, it's significantly different, I think, then.
we should revisit it.
Yes, I do, yeah. Use the allowance, well, okay.
So, Are you-
Did they say they need 2 trucks though, or just
The one truck.
one?
it's just replacing it, you know.
One truck, okay,
So I think the thought was it still has good trade-in value and
yeah.
it does have some, obviously some wear.
But we're allotting them to use $56,000,
Can
which
we,
is significantly over what we're estimating it's gonna cost with the trade-in.
can we say 56 for one of these 2 vehicles and not the Ram?
Yes, yeah.
So we stipulate that the Ram, we prefer them not to get the Ram?
Let's see,
And
Could
actually,
we
so
say not more than 35,000, because
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's an
I was gonna say
estimated cost
40,000.
of 31.
40,
But they're asking for up to 56, that's the question, so,
yeah.
Well, but I originally said,
I don't know where these numbers came from, if they're
Can
right.
we To recommend not more than 35, which gives them a little bit up from the 31,875, because why do we have to why do we have to agree with 56?
Maybe you need to give them 40,000,
I
I mean,
would say
I think you're a little low, so let's say 40,
there's
just,
a little
yeah.
wiggle room, but yeah. 'Cause even at 40, they're gonna probably get they'll end up getting like those 31 and those 35. I see what you're saying. We're trying to get them, I think, to go
Get
for
the
this
Chevy.
way. So that would make it like a 35.
Who's Chevy and who's Ford here? But I do know.
Campbell Chev has the best deal. They have a good trade-in allowance
Yeah,
and a good, right, the quoted price is higher, but their trade-in allowance, because they're also taking in a Chevy, is, they're giving them a better trade-in allowance.
right, but they asked for 56,000, that's what we're questioning, they don't.
But I think that's because that's what's in the reserve study, right? That's what's in there.
Yeah,
So that's why they're asking for that much, but we don't
But
have.
can we-
Well, that's why they're doing that, because it's right there in the.
Yeah, so we could lower that.
We can lower it.
We can lower it and say they get 40, basically, is that.
35, 40.
Cause then that would give them allowance if they ended up with this one instead, they could still get it.
Just in case they're, I mean, the reason they're getting, part of the reason you want to go to Kendall Chev is because they're giving you a good trade-in allowance. So, I mean, I'm good 31 or 35 or 40, but, I don't think we need to give them the, recommend the 56.
So either, I think we need to recommend less.
So one's a Ford and one's a Chevy.
so it does say the trade-in is an estimate. So
Right, it
Well,
could be
then-
different.
they may budge on that a little bit.
Well, let's go to 40 then, that gives them some
I
wiggle
think
room.
if you go to 40,
Yeah,
then they can
I
always
think
ask for
that's-
more.
I'd go with that myself.
And hopefully they'll still,
Even the lowest is giving us 17. So worst case scenario, we'll get 17 as a trade-in.
Covering the sales tax. If you put 42, then the one quote at 36 would be okay.
Whatever you guys are comfortable with, but I don't think 56, we need
Yeah, that's,
to.
that's what I put, yeah, for sure, the Silverado.
40, 42, what do you
Yeah,
think?
somewhere in there, yeah. So that they don't, if they, you know, because you gotta get the license and the tax and all that other stuff.
What about 42,999?
There.
they split it with everyone.
And 90 cents.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Shall we do 42 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Whatever you guys are comfortable with, I think that's good.
Maybe 56.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so Kathy, you wanna read one?
Okay, we move that the finance committee approve the allocation of.
Recommend to
Oh,
the board.
recommend
To the board, yeah.
to the board the allocation of 42,999.
No, 42
Yeah,
is.
that was
42.
And 98 cents.
Proceed, serve for the purchase and replacement of a replacement maintenance truck for OP-23 and authorize the general manager and maintenance manager to negotiate final purchase terms with the selected vendor, including trade-in or sale of OP-23 with any unspent funds returned to the CRRF. We definitely want them to trade it in, don't we? We don't want them to.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to move on. I'll second that.
So, further discussion?
Well, I just was gonna say, do we wanna further clarify that we're not gonna use Dwayne's lanes, or is just by having the money
They won't have enough money to do
to
it.
do it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's plenty good then.
That's kind of what we said.
That's what we said correctly, I was just saying, we would say correctly, that's okay. All right. That's good.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Opposed?
Aye.
There's a delay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other business to come before the finance committee? Well, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to serve on the finance committee this year. I think we've come up with some good ideas. Done a lot of work done. And at 8:24, we're adjourned.
No, this is the shouting, oh, the C.